Can you dig it, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
I think this is fake.
You can't say that.
I can say that.
Wrestling's not fake!
It's still real to me, damn it!
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
So you're listening to Marks with No Agenda. I'm the unprofessional broadcaster, Eddie Brophy,
I'm Jason Smith.
and I'm in a fishbowl.
I'm declaring that is not our intro, Catherine.
I veto your lack of interest in this
Well,
intro.
I veto your veto.
You can't veto a veto. It's not.
I could totally veto your
I
veto.
abstain.
Jason can be the filibuster to this veto.
Well, Charlie votes to veto.
Who's Charlie?
My dog.
He's a cat.
Oh man.
I feel like I haven't been on this show in a while.
That's because you haven't been on the show in like a month.
That's true. That's why I'm the prodigal podcaster. I have returned.
The procrastinating podcaster.
I said the prodigal podcaster.
Okay.
Sure.
One of those.
One of those applies, and the other one not so much.
We're going to Survivor Series. I know.
Yay! I have the tickets, so as long as you guys are nice to me between now and then you guys are going to Survivor Series.
Okay, just till we get to the door, and then
I was gonna say
penis references galore.
And then I just need to be nice to you until you pay me for the tickets, and then I can be a bitch all I want.
it's like a Guns N' Roses concert. There's 3 tickets. Who will show up?
Oh man.
Sadly, as of late, I think I've been the Axel of this trio. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm busy watching Lakers games and
Lakers?
Lakers?
you.
What the
yeah,
hell is wrong with you?
That's an Axel Rose myth.
Wait,
Last
I'm
time-
sorry.
okay.
Did you? Okay.
I thought you were giving me a legitimate answer.
I
like
know,
where
me
you've
too.
been.
I didn't pick up on the GNR reference, which I totally hate myself for. But there was that sheer moment of panic when I thought you legitimately ditched us for a Lakers game.
I'm like, you don't
and
even
I was-
watch sports.
Not to mention of all sports.
Yeah,
Like,
and never
I don't
mind
like-
turning on your home team, but turning on your home team for like its rival enemy.
I think you
Well,
should.
not to mention, like, of all the sports, why basketball?
I think
Why
you
No
guys-
now?
No offense to Mark Sherman, who I know loves the Celtics. Sorry, buddy, but basketball sucks.
Well, I think you guys should at least be impressed that I know a team name.
How many basketball teams can you name?
Are the LA Clippers still around?
I believe so.
All right.
I'm not a basketball guy, so I'm not the
The
authority on it, but
The Heat.
okay.
Nice.
The Lakers. The 49ers.
I think that's football.
But yeah,
Uh,
that's 49ers. That's 49ers. The 49ers is football.
I think you're thinking the 76ers.
76ers is basketball.
76ers. The San Diego Devil Rays.
I think you're thinking Tampa Bay, and that's baseball.
So,
Well, I officially know more about sports than Eddie. Moving on.
the Mighty Ducks.
They're not even called that anymore.
Emilio. Yeah, this is a wrestling show, guys. Let's stay on topic here.
Psh. That's priceless coming from you. I'm sorry.
Namely, the Kowloon. Let's discuss Kowloon and how
Are we going to Kowloon on Sunday?
We could. It could be in the cards.
I don't.
If we go to Kowloon, will other people meet us at Kowloon? So it's not just the 3 of us going, "Oh my God, the small children."
Are we gonna see douchebag Make-A-Wish kid again?
With Camaro, asshole brother.
What was he, Bat Kid?
I would hope so.
Give him a pass if he was Bat Kid.
Probably
Oh,
not
man.
bad kid.
Are we just gonna stand around like 3 awkward assholes again, or are we actually gonna eat?
We ate last time. We each had like a chicken finger each.
Yeah, because you took 3 hours to read the menu. Granted, the
I'm
menu
s-
has like
I-
9 pages and is
well,
color and numbered, but
and also, now that I have food allergies, it's just gonna take me forever. So really, what we're saying is somebody go to Kowloon after the show and keep us amused while I figure out what I can eat without dying.
okay. So let me get this straight. I haven't been on the show in almost a month. Catherine has a food allergy.
Uh-huh.
Jason knows more about sports than I do,
Yeah.
and WWE ripped off a TNA storyline.
Which one?
Poor Kane. Although I did call this, if you remember, Jason, I did call this on the show before SummerSlam when I said it would be funny if Bray Wyatt ripped the wig and mask off his face and Kane went corporate, or went like all like Republican libertarian on us.
Yeah, we did. You did actually talk about like Kane reverting to actual like human being instead of Kane.
I think
I
me
do
and-
remember that.
I think me and Sean even talked about it the week before.
Before, kid. I unless they pulled, at least they didn't pull the full TNA where it's like it's Kane, but it's not really Kane. It's Kane's brother.
Oh God.
I mean, is this something that we're excited about?
No.
I gotta see where it's going, but I'm not thrilled with it.
I mean, did either of you actually watch the Michael Cole interview with Kane? Well, you answered
No.
No.
Well, at least Catherine watched the interview.
No, I did.
No, I didn't. I said I didn't.
I did.
Jason did. I didn't. Do Jason and I sound similar now? Should I be concerned?
No,
I know
and
I still have a little bit of zombie plague, but I don't sound like a 70-year-old chain smoking grandma anymore, so I shouldn't sound like Jason.
Jason sounds like a 7-year-old chain smoking grandma. That's news to me.
It's kind of my thing.
Let's get caught up in the actual event we're attending now.
Have we actually decided? Because I know you weren't here last time, Eddie, but Jason, there was no bitterness in my voice that all there. Jason and I were trying to decide what is actually booked for the card for Survivor Series. We have a little bit better of an idea now,
Yeah.
but it's still not good.
I think there's 7 matches now announced.
Are there? And how many are there supposed to be?
It's not far off. Maybe one more will be thrown in there, but I don't know. I kind of feel like all of these have been thrown in there so far, so.
Yeah. So what can we go down the actual card and discuss what's actually happening?
Talk about the fact that the main event is more than likely going to be Orton versus Big Show for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Well, duh.
I don't know how I feel about this. The fact that Big Show is going to be in it. How long has it been since Big Show's been in like a main event title match?
I think he did it in like right after Rock and I don't know about a title match, but I know he had that thing with Cena. Remember the last time he cried on TV?
Well, I'm trying to. In terms of like the big pay-per-views, though, like when was the last time they actually had enough invested in this guy that he main evented like an actual like a big pay-per-view?
Well, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I want to venture a guess, say Survivor Series '99, maybe.
03? I don't know.
I mean, where do you guys stand? Is this remotely entertaining? Like, what kind of match is this going to be? Is this going to be a match you're actually looking forward to, or
I don't know why you do it. I'm
We don't-
lost.
is this going to be the Kowloon match? Should we just duck out early and?
I will say I am more interested in this match than I was 3 weeks ago. I feel like every week I get a little bit more interested in it because I do like they've kind of taken it. I don't know how to describe what I want to say. Like, because I mean, when they were doing the whole, Big Show's crying and he would run in and punch somebody in the shield and call it good. Like, we were complaining because it just wasn't. There's no chemistry between anybody. Like, there was nothing building up. It was just very awkward. And I feel like now they've kind of at least made it a little bit more cohesive. Like, it's a little bit more solidified in what they're trying to go for, why he's there. Like, there's an actual reason for it to be happening now. So I'm a little bit more interested in it now than I did a couple of weeks ago. But is it what I wanted to see as the main event to my first WWE pay-per-view that I'm going to in person? No.
I mean, in terms of our predictions early on, I don't think we were too far off in the sense that Goldust and Cody will be in a traditional Survivor Series match. However, it's not going to be the traditional match that we were hoping for.
Right.
You got that Monday.
Namely,
I
because
know. Can we please discuss how Monday Night Raw, like the main event, is what? Why was that on Raw? Why was that not on the pay-per-view? That was such a good match, and it could have been like that was a phenomenal Raw match. And like if they were given the proper time, if it was on the pay-per-view, they could have done a couple of bigger spots. They could have done a couple more things with it to make it like the perfect pay-per-view match. Like I
well,
don't understand why they had the smaller version of it on Raw.
why is that not main eventing this Sunday? Like, why didn't you hold that as your ace in the hole? Why didn't you make the CM Punk Daniel Bryan against Eric Rowan and Luke Harper match for Monday, and then save that big match for Sunday?
Right, because you would have thought that having that tag match would have, been another kind of piece of the puzzle leading up to the pay-per-view. And instead, I feel like they gave us the pay-per-view and now they're deconstructing it for actual Survivor Series.
I mean, and again, why not have Rey Mysterio make his return at the actual pay-per-view?
Definitely. The whole
Yeah.
Raw show was like, why are you giving this away for free and making me, Eddie, and Catherine pay for a farly less entertaining show on Sunday? Like,
Yeah.
like-
Okay. Normally, I hate to talk really bad about the product because, I mean, it's just not something I like to
it's
do.
not bad. It's just critical.
I would say that the majority of Raw on Monday was one big clusterfuck.
Well,
Like
I mean,
it was all over the place. Like things just didn't make sense. I thought like the way it was put together, it was very haphazard. I mean, the announcers were dreadful as usual, but it was just like, it was not what you expect to see from a Raw, and it was not what you expect to see as the go home Raw before a pay-per-view. Like it was
my nitpick thing is, why have Big E win the title on Raw when he could have won it at the pay-per-view?
Exactly.
right.
Like, why not open with Axel, Big E, have Big E win in the opening match and set the tone for the rest of the pay-per-view?
Right. I mean, that whole thing has been weird anyways, because they kind of had a lead up to Big E versus Curtis Axel for the last pay-per-view. And by lead up, I mean like an episode of SmackDown. And then there was something weird where Curtis Axel was hurt, so it couldn't be the pre-show. So then they had him facing Dean Ambrose 2 or 3 times. And now all of a sudden at the last minute, he gets another title match and wins. I know, I just like it just, there was no cohesiveness from beginning to end
The only
in the storyline.
the only silver lining I can see is if you watch the latest like WWE Triple H interview, they make a point of mentioning that the fact that Big E won the title against Curtis Axel. The only thing I can think of is that Triple H, he was tight with Kurt Hennig, so maybe they're gonna kind of pull the whole Triple H and Curtis Axel thing now. Pull him under his wing, give the title right back to him. That's the only thing I can see them doing. It's why they did that on Monday.
You see him being, in terms of going into the pay-per-view, because they just announced they're going to have the rematch. Do you see Authority making the run-in for that match and having him be a transitional champion, give it back to Axel to build him back up? But if that's
Possibly.
Or there's the going back to, I mean, he has unfinished business with Paul Heyman. I mean, and Paul Heyman isn't really involved in any of the other storylines right now.
Well, they made a point Monday saying Curtis Axel and Ryback are no longer Heyman guys.
Right. But Curtis Axel wanted to prove that he could do it on his own, and then he lost to Big E.
Exactly.
So I mean, to me that felt like they were building it up to, I mean, there has to be something going on between Axel and Heyman and Ryback, and I kind of feel like Ryback is out of the picture again. They're kind of like, well, that didn't work. We'll just send him away. But I feel like you could really take the Axel and Heyman thing, because I feel like if it's like they just did the Heyman and Punk thing, and that kind of went kaplooey. Because I feel like that was handled kind of poorly. But I mean, you could do something very similar with Curtis Axel, where maybe he goes back to Paul Heyman and goes, "I made a mistake," or like, "Take me back," and
because they
try to work things out, because now, I mean, he tried to go it alone, and his first match alone, he loses the title that means so much to him.
Well, between now and WrestleMania, when apparently Paul Heyman will come back, or before WrestleMania, when they're going to try and book Brock in a big match, possibly against Rock, possibly against Taker, you're going to have to give Heyman a little bit of TV time for him to be relevant again.
Right.
I mean, you'd be amazed how fast a lot of us forget, that Paul Heyman was even in the picture just by taking him off of TV for a few months.
Yeah.
So even that, like, does that just kind of destroy every storyline going into this pay-per-view where Paul Heyman was there for like the first 3 pay-per-views, and all of a sudden he's going to be on for the next 3.
I don't know. I've kind of been done with the Paul E. Heyman character right now. I mean, I love Paul Heyman, but I kind of needed that little break to let me forget you, so I can miss you and welcome you back soon.
I'm not sure if I was upset, like done with the Paul Heyman character as much as I was just kind of over what they were doing with him.
Yeah.
I thought they were on a great trajectory. We personally like wanted, the Punk versus the Heyman guys feud. I just feel like that was kind of so like skewed and I would go as far as to say like completely mishandled. The way, you don't start with Brock Lesnar and then work your way up to Curtis Axel. Like like that's a little backwards. And like I feel like that took a lot of the momentum away from Paul Heyman and where they were going. It took a lot of momentum away from Curtis Axel, who had a very strong debut, and it really kind of waned his character away. So I feel like maybe him being away for a little while can revamp both his character and also maybe bring forward some other characters or help reestablish people like Curtis Axel that really needs a mouthpiece like Axel to kind of keep him going right now. I don't feel, as much as I love Axel, because everybody knows I was a Nexus fan, I loved him, he's Michael McGillicuddy. Like, as much as I love him, like, I feel like on the mic he's still slightly lacking. I feel like he's much better than he ever was in any of his other incarnations in which he was in the roster. I feel like he can actually kind of cut a promo now. But in terms of, being a strong mid-card person, you have to be able to cut a promo. You have to be able to go and talk in the ring. And I feel like he's not quite there yet. And having someone like Paul Heyman really boosts him. So I feel like they need to figure out a way to get that relationship or to give him somebody similar to save that character.
Well, what do you do in terms of CM Punk, Daniel Bryan? I mean, these are both guys that were in the title contention for a while, and now you're just basically putting them in a makeshift tag team match to push the Wyatt family. Obviously, Bray Wyatt's out with an injury. So what does that say even for those guys right now?
I think it's brilliant.
I think it's a great combination. I love the combination of Bryan and, Punk, but in terms of where they were just a month or two ago, is that kind of is that a demotion for them?
I feel like it's an upgrade for Punk because, yes, okay, he had a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell, but who had interest in that match anymore? Nobody. It was just kind of pushed there. They tried to give it some emphasis, and it just didn't really work. I feel like it's good for Punk. I feel like it's really good for Daniel Bryan because it keeps him from fading away. They could easily say, you didn't work in the main event. We have nothing to do with you. Like, go away for a couple of weeks. Go away for a couple of months. I feel like, to me, having the two of them go up against Wyatt family is kind of, like 6 months ago, it was Sheamus and Randy Orton versus The Shield, where it was strong, almost main event guys, but not quite there. Really, taking the younger guys by the hand and saying, hey, this is how you do it. Let's go put on a show. Yeah, and I feel like they could put over the Wyatt family the way like Kane never could. Kane tried really hard and it didn't happen. If anything, they faltered on the Wyatt family.
Well, now 2 questions though. Where do they go after that match, and more specifically, what role does Kane play in this pay-per-view? Because he's not booked on the card. He's nowhere on this card.
I don't think he has anything to do with the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I feel like he's turning into the non-wrestling wrestler because he clearly has other things going on. He has the movie, he has his political aspirations. If anything, wrestling right now is a detriment to him as a person, like to him and like his personal goals. So I kind of feel like having him in that other role, like he's just kind of there. Like maybe something will happen, but I don't think it really will.
Is this his retirement year then? Because I kind of feel like once you take the mask off for the second time, you're literally like easing the fans into a retirement.
I don't know if he gets retirement. There's lots of guys where it's like, all right, if Ted DiBiase came out tomorrow and wrestled a match, I wouldn't care. Not that I wouldn't care, but I wouldn't care that he's in the ring in terms of a legacy. You know what I mean? What?
Talking bad about Ted DiBiase, it makes me sad.
I'm talking about senior, not junior.
I know.
Okay.
I like them both.
I'm not talking bad. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying it.
It's not a negative way to say that if Ted DiBiase wrestled a match tomorrow, nobody would really care because consider your demographic. consider the number of fans that remember Ted DiBiase and appreciated him versus the number of asses filling the seats of the Sunday.
I'm saying it doesn't hurt his legacy if he comes out and wrestled tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely not going to help it. It's not going to be like a catalyst for his legacy. I mean, he's done what he's done.
yeah, I mean, if Shawn Michaels wrestled tomorrow, I'd be kind of like, all right, you kind of walked off into the sunset, and that was great, and you had your. But there's certain guys where it's like they don't need that, and it doesn't hurt if Roddy Piper's wrestling tomorrow. It doesn't hurt their legacy.
Yeah.
But it's like Kane doesn't need a quote unquote retirement. It's like he could be around and wrestle in 5-6 years, and who cares?
So essentially, he beat RVD.
No, I feel like they could really use him. I mean, they had them as part of the Authority, and they keep making these allusions. They have the mask if they need it. So I kind of feel like he's going to be kind of a background player. He's going to be a little bit more, like unofficially administrative, like kind of one of the manager roles. And then, if for some reason there's a storyline that comes up, they can always go, oh, well, what would make this great? Oh, have Kane put the mask on and have Kane go out. And then but like if they wait long enough before they do that, there'll be enough people that go, oh, holy crap, I forgot that's actually Kane. Like,
well, here's the thing then. Who do you put the mask back on Kane for? Because I feel like if you're going with the whole Kane and the Authority storyline, if you're going to put the mask back on him, and he has alluded to the monster still exists, who does the monster exist for?
I'd have to say Brian, even though I don't really want to see that feud now, because that time's kind of passed. But
yeah, I feel like that time says I would almost say like Cena. Because, the way I see it is, I mean, Cena's over on SmackDown. They really haven't had Cena interact with the main Authority storyline yet. And which I think is brilliant. Like, having him not really be part of that, I think is a great move. Because everybody knows, like, you could say it's Randy Orton all you want, but John Cena is the face of the WWE. So have him...
Well, no, I'm just saying, not to interrupt. If you build up to a champion versus champion match at Mania with Cena versus Orton, I think that's where ultimately it'll pay off.
Right. But, like, if you build up to that and you kind of, like, have Cena out of the picture when it comes to the Authority, and then if something happens, like champion versus champion, Cena takes both belts, and the Authority turns around and goes, we don't want you. We wanted Randy Orton. Like, who would you unleash against John Cena to take down John Cena but the Monster Kane? Like, I feel like that would be a great build-up. Have John Cena kind of, kick out Randy Orton, take his place back, and then they'd have to send somebody after him.
Well, it's almost frustrating, too, because, I mean, Survivor Series is this Sunday, and you could almost forge ahead to next Survivor Series, where if Cena wins at Mania, you get through the summer, and you get through the duller months, and you get to the next Survivor Series. If Kane's going after Cena, well, who could have Cena align himself with to go back after Kane?
Everybody.
Well, I mean, my favorite pick would be Taker. And I mean, would it make more sense? And I mean, not retiring the man this year, because everyone says it every year. Would it make more sense to retire Taker at a Mania or at Survivor Series where he made his debut?
Mania.
At this point,
there's more of a connection.
Right, and at this point, like, he wrestles at Mania. Like, to have him come back for something else, I feel like would, as much as we complain about, the one-timers that come once a year or whatever. I mean, he's earned the right to wrestle once a year at WrestleMania. Like,
he puts on the match of the night, so
right. Like, well, he's that one guy on the roster that, like, all right. Like, I get pissed when The Rock does it, because to me, like, The Rock isn't a wrestler anymore. The Undertaker will always be a wrestler, and to me, like, he is that guy I'm always gonna want to see at WrestleMania. And the only time I want him to ever, like, do something else is gonna be at Mania. I thought what they did with the Shield this year after Mania was kind of stretching it. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a great way to put Undertaker out for the year. But, like, I don't know, you guys understand what I'm saying. Like I want Undertaker at Mania. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Well, that's what my question would be for listeners. 978-276-9418 at MO Commentary. What constitutes, let's say Catherine said, well, Taker's earned being kind of a part-time one pay-per-view wrestler. What constitutes someone getting that privilege over, say, like, for example, you have The Undertaker, who most people respected, versus The Rock, who people shit on him when he shows up for that one pay-per-view.
Dedication.
So, yeah.
20 years.
Yeah. Well, Taker isn't running around 364 other days of the year going, "Oh, well, I'm not part of WWE. I'm a serious actor. I just do that when I need to promote a movie."
And there's also, I think, ability. You know, The Rock could do a full year cycle. You know, Undertaker
Well,
probably couldn't do that.
I mean, think back to the past two WrestleManias he's been in. He's hurt himself.
Right.
Is that due from a lack of training?
I
Is that
think
due?
so. I think it's conditioning.
Right.
So,
I mean, if the guys that are in WWE now train every day, like they wrestle 350 something days out of the year, like when you break that cycle, like that has an effect on your body. You're not going to wrestle the same. You're going to be more prone to injury, and you can't expect him when he's at home to be wrestling every day. And he's getting older. Like you don't wrestle the same at that age.
well, I mean, but that's the thing. Is it more respectable for the Undertaker? And anytime he's trained for a Mania, he's really trained for it. Is it more respectable for an older veteran to train really hard and maybe not wrestle 110% like he's known for, versus a guy who's younger than that could theoretically train way more and just chooses not to and then shows up and gets hurt? I mean, if Undertaker got hurt at a WrestleMania, I don't think most fans would really scoff at him. I don't think they'd really put him down for it. Whereas I feel like The Rock's injuries are kind of like, well, dude, no offense, like you're not giving 110% to, and you only have this one match. Like, how are you getting that hurt in one match? And you're young, and you're still very young.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, so I think that'd be an interesting question, because I think in a lot of, you know, I don't know, a lot of circumstances, Undertaker gets by from fans because he's the Undertaker. But I mean, The Rock is arguably just as big. I just don't think he's as dedicated.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a difference. I mean, you can say, okay, he's he's The Rock. People know he's The Rock, and they know he's the Undertaker. But I feel like they're for two different reasons. The Rock is known for The Rock for the character. The Undertaker is known, yes, for the character of the Undertaker, but he's also known for all the other crap he has done for WWE over the years.
Well,
Like,
I think the Undertaker at this point is also the man. I think it's less the character, and the Undertaker is the total package. He's both the man and the myth at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a normal guy, I mean, his legacy precedes him in the locker room, at least.
oh
I mean,
yeah,
these are other guys, the boys in the back, if you will, that know him as Mark Calloway, that it's still, they revere him as the Undertaker. He's the top guy. He's the leader in the locker room.
yeah,
Whereas I don't think you'd get that from The Rock. I think he even still gets the VIP sort of star treatment even in the locker room.
yeah. Well, and also like, I mean, you could say the same thing about other people. It's like John Cena. John Cena, love him or hate him, people respect what he's done for the business. They respect him for what he does behind the scenes. And Undertaker was kind of that long before John Cena was ever that. Like John Cena's always kind of been the public figure of it, whereas Undertaker, like he's always been the one back in the locker room. Like everybody's always respected him, and for a reason. And I think it's well deserved. And I think once you have that level of respect, and you've shown that level of dedication, then you can come back for one pay-per-view a year.
Well, I mean,
And everybody knows it's a big deal.
well, hypothetically, then, is there another wrestler like The Undertaker who could theoretically come back and it wouldn't be kind of a cash in? Like, if Hulk Hogan or The Rock come back, it immediately you go, oh, that's a cash in. They're out of money or they're trying to promote something. But if, say, someone like Stone Cold Steve Austin came back, would it be almost on the same par as The Undertaker, where you still respect it, even though he's only there for the one match?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, Steve Austin hasn't wrestled in years. So I think for anybody that's either grew up with Austin or seen the footage or has heard about Austin, it would be a bigger. I think it'd be a bigger deal than The Rock.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
it was an event, but it wasn't half the event I pictured it being, because we all know why The Rock left in the first place. Whereas Steve Austin, be it neck injury or politics with the McMahons, if he came back, it would be a big deal, because you know that he was dedicated to, all right, this is when and where I want to come back.
Yeah. I mean, Rock might transition wrestling to, somebody out on the street. Austin, in the world of wrestling, always got that little extra pop, always was that little bit bigger. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what
In my opinion.
I mean, there's even small, like the guys that weren't top card guys. You take your Road Dogs, your X-Pac, your Billy Guns. I think even when they come back, there's still an appreciation for the fact that they're not back to get a cash in. They're not back to be relevant for 5 seconds. They're back because they chose to come back.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, I mean, it's been a shorter period of time, but even like things like currently with Goldust, I mean, he's been out of the WWE for several years now, and him coming back, like, it doesn't really feel like a paycheck because like people that know that he's been really successful on the indie circuit. Like, he doesn't have to come back, but he clearly loved it. He had the opportunity to do it, and like he's proven that he's worth having back. Like, nobody has looked at Goldust in the recent matches and gone, was that really a good decision? Like, it's been incredibly solid, and the support for him has been really good. I feel because people don't think that it's the payout.
well, I think he's also had a solid enough career, despite the fact of how gimmicky that character is.
Right.
He's made it work. Like The Undertaker, he's made it work. I mean, I mean, this is in his blood. It's in his family. For Goldust to come back for me is a major push, and it's a major nod to everything he's done because they didn't have to ask him to come back.
I also think it's admirable. He has kind of, the really weird gimmick. It involves a lot of face paint. It's very weird. He could have left WWE and said, well, screw that. I'm not doing that anymore. But the fact that he's been so dedicated to that and to his fans of Goldust that he's kind of kept it all along and he's never tried to be anybody else, I think is also earns him respect points.
Well, again, a guy his age, much like Mark Calloway with The Undertaker, a guy his age could look at it like, oh, this is really silly. Don't make me do this. Make me legitimate. But the fact that he knows this is what I'm known for, why would I cheat fans out of coming through that curtain without the music that they know, without the gimmick that they know? In the fact that at his age, with that gimmick in this decade, he can come out and get as big of a pop, if not bigger, than he did when he was a young talent. With that gimmick originally is huge.
Especially since, he could have done that. He could have come back this time around and said, I'm coming back to, save Cody's job. I'm not going to do it as Goldust. I'm going to do it as Dustin. I'm going to do it as myself because I want to save my brother's career in the storyline, not, Goldust wants to do it. And the fact that he, like, went all out and he's, like, decided to still be Goldust, I think speaks volumes for him. And I feel like that's someone, that has gotten a lot of respect from the fans because of it.
Well, I mean, this could be arguable, I guess, TV tracks worthy, but I almost feel like he's a better wrestler now than he was when I grew up with him. Something about his style and something about his delivery now seems more refined. It seems almost like more determined. Like he wants to prove at his age now more than he did when he was younger.
Everybody knows I'm a newer fan, but I've seen a lot of older Goldust stuff. I would agree with you. I would say, just looking at it from a, comparing one match to the other, I would say, maybe his wrestling is better. I feel like he incorporates more stuff. He's able to do more stuff. And maybe some of that is, he's trying to prove a point. Some of it might just be experience. The longer you do things, the better you get at it, no matter what you do with it. So,
well, what better mentor to have for Cody if, the dirt sheets are right and they're going to push him in the title circuit this summer than having your older brother who is a seasoned veteran in all the, territories and, being, the son of Dusty Rhodes. Why not have him mentor his younger brother and guide him into this is what it takes to be a champion? And he could even say, I never got that opportunity, but, I wasn't bitter about it. This gimmick may have held me back from this opportunity, but I'll never come out and say, well, this gimmick sucks. This is what held me back. So it's almost like he pushed himself to be a better worker and say, you know what? I got this really crappy gimmick and I've made it work. I've made a career out of it. If anyone's going to, kind of push my younger brother to make what he's doing work, why not show him, hey, if I can make it work at this age as this character, why can't you do better at your age?
Right. And even Cody Rhodes himself in interviews and stuff has always talked about, in real life, Goldust being a huge mentor to him as his older brother. He's the one who helped him break into the business, not really Dusty. So I feel like it would be a nice, art imitating life moment if they did something like that.
Well, even if they had a falling out, even if they dropped the titles and we got the Goldust Cody match, to me, that would ultimately be the passing of the torch and saying that Cody's ready now. Like he's ready
Yeah.
to, on the same level as Orton or Punk or Bryan. You know, my mentor has basically taken me this far. It's no different than HBK in that match at Hell in a Cell with Bryan. That was a big torch passing moment.
Yeah.
HBK went heel on someone he trained, for me, speaks volumes because just because, you know, people say, oh, he got buried. He didn't get buried. Like, his mentor went heel on him. I mean, to me, that's a bigger thing than, say, HBK helping him win the title.
Yeah. I will say, while we're talking about Rhodes family and crappy gimmicks, Cody has had his fair of crappy gimmicks. He did have to wear a plastic mask and hand out paper bags. Just saying. So we don't forget.
He made that work better than Test did.
You know what's funny is I'm looking at the Survivor Series card and there's a picture of, you know, the Rhodes team and everybody has face paint or a mask on, and I almost wish Cody would don the mask. You know, as a unity thing. But I'm wondering if they're gonna do the whole like Godfather pimp, everybody dressed in gold or something kind of deal at the pay-per-view.
And you know, as awesome as that would be, I feel like, for me at least right now, this is the match I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too.
And it works because of the dynamic between everyone there. And I feel like for it to be more gimmicky, like if they all came out in like the jumpsuits with the gold faces, it would sully the fact that this is potentially going to be the match of the night.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe just not so much everybody's dressed up as Goldust, but maybe wears gold to, I don't know, like team colors or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, because like in the past, like Cody's worn like the gold trunks and stuff, and you could do something simple like that if they decided that was something they wanted to do.
I seem to remember years ago when they had team captains. I think it would have been awesome if they had team captains in this match and Goldust was the team captain of, you know, and you could call it Team Goldie or whatever, and you can have him, because he's the veteran. I mean, you could argue, well, so is Rey Mysterio, not quite on Goldust level.
I kind of looked at this as Team Rhodes versus Team Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, but
if you went with team captains, who would be the captain of Team Shield? And
Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because he's the younger guy, but then again, every guy in that match is young. But I was going Dean Ambrose because I think he has the most potential out of every guy on that team.
Well, and also like they have a long-standing tradition of, you know, the leaders of the teams kind of being the more charismatic mouthpiece, because they have to be, you know, the one, if there's a promo or something going on, that they would be in charge of running it, and like nobody is better on the mic than Dean Ambrose, so why not?
Well, I don't want to ignore the rest of the card because we have this compelling Natalia, Bella's Dactyls, Joe and Eva Marie versus AJ and whatever.
I'm sorry. This goes back to Raw was a clusterfuck. Seriously, Divas musical chairs and cowboy get-ups? Way to take the Raw before Survivor Series seriously, guys.
You know, Catherine, this is a long-standing tradition in WWE where you right before pay-per-view, it's a mud bowl match, it's a nightgown match, it's a Jello bowl, whatever. Like they haven't taken the division seriously then, and they certainly won't now. Honestly, I say 5 minutes. AJ Lee probably gets the win. She's, if not the sole survivor, she's going to get the clean pin.
I don't know. This is the either series debut or the series season finale of whatever Total Divas this year. I don't know. Is it next season or this season? I don't know. Either or.
That marked on his calendar.
What's
I have
that?
no idea what you're talking about, Jason.
Well, it's fucking Total Divas versus the rest of the locker room. So,
Right. So are you trying to say that the debut of the second half of the first season of Total Divas was this past weekend?
No, it's going to be this match, like how they built up to WrestleMania as the first show, and they built up of season 1, and then season 2 it's SummerSlam. Season 3 is going to be Survivor Series. I don't know. Just my foreshadowing that this is how they open the season.
It makes sense if, you know, the one team came out in like the pink Total Diva shirts, and it's kind of like it's us versus, well, those ones. But the only thing that kind of stops is the fact that AJ Lee still holds the title.
Thank God.
Can I just say how disappointed I am that there's nothing in this pay-per-view, and in fact they've now prohibited it from doing because they have Natalia and Summer Rae involved in this match. I really liked the Tyson Kidd Natalia versus Fandango Summer Rae like mix that they had going on for the last couple of weeks. Like I thought that was a really great combination. It was a great way to re-debut Tyson Kidd, and then they were just like, oh wait, no, we need Natalia for this other thing. Sorry, guys.
I I am for it, but I'm not for it because if Tyson Kidd is going to make an impact again, I want to see Tyson Kidd do it on his own terms, and I would hate to see him playing second fiddle to his wife. And that sounds terrible because they were such a great team, but I would almost, if they're gonna break Tyson Kidd out again and they're gonna like mold him into being even just a mid carder, I still think we need a division for guys like Tyson Kidd, for the high flyers and the technicians, because he's probably just gonna be slumming like a Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you in the slightest in that Tyson Kidd needs to be able to break out on his own. But I thought like, I mean, he made his debut back. I thought it was like, I mean, I marked out huge for like his return. I thought it was a great moment. And then, you kind of get like the wives / female dancers involved. And then they had this weird combination going because they had Total Divas going where Tyson Kidd's kind of playing like kind of the bad guy on the show because he gets all jealous of Fandango and like all this stuff going. So I really liked the way that it was interacting with the two shows. Because if you're going to use Total Divas to bring in viewers, and then you're going to have to use the show tonight, keep the Total Divas viewers involved and interested, like what better way than to set them up in a legitimate feud? And I feel like if he had that solid feud, it would keep him from bouncing back to Zack Ryder status.
I think this would be a great opportunity for them to debut their new show called Total Jobbers.
Is it just Kurt Hawkins and JTG like
Zack
cleaning out the
Ryder.
locker room at the end of the night?
Eating catering.
No, yeah, exactly. I would love to see them just kind of farting around the backstage area with like the cold cuts and stuff, just like contemplating ways that they can still get over with the WWE crowd, even though at this point it's like feudal.
Or like them like filming a backstage promo being like, I'm gonna walk through the hallway. No, I'm gonna walk through the hallway. No, I said I was gonna walk through the hallway first.
Well,
Who cares? It's the back of your head.
Here's my gripe with the Survivor Series is my favorite Survivor Series, and again, it's not because I'm favoring the Attitude Generation, was 99, because it was loaded with traditional Survivor Series matches, because they were finally like, hey, why don't we just utilize everybody? Let's give everybody an equal shot. It doesn't even matter at this point. Just get everybody out there, fill the card with all these Survivor Series matches. That way everybody gets TV time. Nobody bitches after the fact. Everybody gets the pay-per-view paycheck. You have so many people that you're not using. Why didn't you? And that was the whole point of this event, was that traditional Survivor Series match. Why did we not have at least 2 more of these?
We might still. I'm looking at like who's still available, and there's enough pieces to make another one.
I mean, I'm really let down. Again, like we emphasized earlier, that the Raw match or the Raw main event wasn't a Survivor Series pay-per-view match. I mean, there's still potential for Celtic Broskies.
Not yet.
Sheamus could come out at any point with Zack Ryder and Tyson Kidd. I mean, you still have 3MB. They're not doing anything with them.
You have
Hey, yes they are. Hello, Rhinestone Cowboys, Union Jacks. Okay, as corny and terrible as it is, it's a fantastic gimmick for them to have right now. Like, because even like we know they're gonna go out and they're gonna lose the match. Like we know they're gonna it's gonna be ridiculous, but it's keeping them interesting. So it's not just all right. There's 3MB again. Like I laughed my ass off during the Rhinestone Cowboys thing.
Well, you would. Here's my thing though.
Hey.
Why are we giving away Kofi Kingston versus The Miz? And this is supposed to be a big heel turning point for The Miz. I don't know how it's a turning point. I hate The Miz anyway. How?
I was gonna say, why are you calling it a disappointment if you hate The Miz so much, douche?
Well, because
You wanted to hate him on pay-per-view, that's why.
Why didn't you make the kickoff match a traditional Survivor Series match? Why not
Because they want the opportunity for The Miz to be able to officially establish him as a heel so he can cut amazing promos and stop being a sappy little loser boy again.
Why couldn't you do that on the pay-per-view? Wouldn't that be making impact on the pay-per-view card as opposed
Because
to...
unfortunately they have him doing it against Kofi Kingston, and Kofi Kingston doesn't get to be on the pay-per-view because Kofi Kingston is boring.
There is so many like, why did they do that on Raw moments, where it's like, what do you got left for the pay-per-view?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm kind of lost. Is with the kickoff match, especially with these kinds of pay-per-views, how cool would it have been to have the guys you're not utilizing put them in a traditional Survivor Series match, and then put Kofi and The Miz like the first match on the card. That way you can still kind of, cultivate The Miz as a heel and still utilize your other guys in the process. And it costs nothing because it's a free match.
You just really want JTG to have something to do.
You don't even need him.
There's a fantastic website that counts how long JTG has been with the company.
Yep.
It's just a little clock that ticks, and it's amazing.
I
wanted to have a
Ziggler
second.
Isn't even on the show yet.
Yeah.
That sucks. And Sandow. That sucks.
Well, they've kind of been feuding, so I'm wondering if SmackDown, they're gonna end up adding a match between the two of them.
I'll have to look
Because
at the spoilers, but I don't think so.
If you look at the spoilers, don't you dare tell me a damn thing.
Oh, I gotta look now.
Actually, no, I'm gonna be at Chaotic tomorrow, so you can tell me. It's all right. I'll forgive you. But any of our listeners, there might be spoilers coming. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
I wouldn't count. You know what? I haven't seen anything on the sheet saying another Survivor Series match added, so.
I think they're going to settle with the two, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they're going to be content with the two. Because really, you got to imagine it's Cena's hometown. So really, the selling points are going to be, Triple H and Steph's authority storyline, which falls right on Orton and Big Show. Cena, the hometown boy, defending against Del Rio. Cena's going to win. Playing up the Rhodes brothers in the Survivor Series match. And then, of course, Punk and Bryan. I mean, everything else is basically filler. I mean, to have a short list of matches like they do is almost perfect for this pay-per-view, but it still kind of breaks my heart that it's, again, this pay-per-view, Survivor Series has just been like, what's the point? I remember when they came out with bragging rights?
Mm-hmm.
That's right before Survivor Series.
And we were like, oh, this is a throwaway. They're just going to load it with shit we don't care about so they can make awesome stuff for Survivor Series. No.
Essentially, bragging rights was Survivor Series. Because
I liked bragging rights.
Well, because the past Survivor Series pay-per-views before that were SmackDown versus Raw Survivor Series matches.
Right.
Essentially, you took that idea and you made a pay-per-view out of it, and then you put it before your Survivor Series pay-per-view.
But the last two Survivor Series, too, were also awesome shows. Like, I mean, yeah, you had the Rock MSG one, which was amazing, but then last year's was awesome. You had the big build-up for how CM Punk gonna escape with the title. It doesn't. This year doesn't have that.
I'll be honest with you. I hated the Rock Punk build-up. I hated those matches because you knew that they were plainly in favor of the Rock. They were always going to be in favor of the Rock. So it was predictable. I did like the Never Before, Never Again tag team match, but the problem there was it was the Miz and R-Truth. And I mean, they had this great build-up when they, jumped into the cell and, the entire locker room had to hold back Triple H, but it's like right before that match, it kind of fizzled out. Like, what happened there?
The Awesome Truth, I missed them. I was just having this argument earlier today with what's his name? Raheem. It's the one that invited me to go to WrestleMania with him.
Ooh.
Yes, Raheem Muhammad. Remember he was creepily kind of hitting on me? Sorry, Raheem. And I made the argument the Awesome Truth was the best thing that the Miz has ever been a part of, other than Miz and Morrison. And he thought Miz and A-Rye was better, and I told him I couldn't marry him now.
You have to do better on your, what is it, dower? What's the thing that you have to give to get like a wife? Not an engagement ring or anything like that.
The dowry?
Yeah, dowry. You have to do better on your dowry.
At this point, because Kat's brought up, the only thing that could really push the Kofi and Miz match is if John Morrison made his return.
Oh my god. I love John Morrison.
Is there a return, honestly, that would save this pay-per-view for you?
You already know my answer to that, and I think you don't.
Ultimate Warrior.
I like it better when Catherine's Ultimate Warrior. If he didn't even have a theme song,
just Catherine on the mic. Ultimate Warrior.
Like, honestly, I don't even need the theme song. I just need the lights go out here. Ultimate Warrior. The best part is Catherine drink, and it sounds like something someone would say if they were passed out in your living room. You're like, hey, man, are you okay? Ultimate Warrior. Catherine brings the bitch. She doesn't even know she brings it. On hashtag Ultimate Warrior.
Oh man, that's the laugh I needed all day. Thank you.
This is why we keep Catherine around. And this is why I'm a fair weather podcaster, because I come back and I bring these things out of Catherine.
Oh man.
You can't waste all the good stuff, Jason. That's why you gotta keep me in the background.
Sorry.
No, seriously, though, if Ultimate Warrior showed up at this pay-per-view, it will happen.
That would save it. It's not happening, but
I was having a conversation with Brian from the Maniacs the other day about who we would want to have return. I think because you had posted something on the Twitter,
yep,
Jason.
like I do.
And we were discussing who was it? Oh, we wanted Mr. Kennedy to come back. That's who I want.
That's not possible right now.
I don't care.
He's actually, they have him set up.
Kennedy.
They actually have him set up really well on TNA right now.
I don't give a shit about TNA.
Anyone want Mr. Kennedy to come back? He was terrible.
Your face is terrible.
I didn't hate him. I just don't think he got the right push at the right time.
I don't hate him. It was just, there was nothing about him that like made me excited to see him.
Okay, here's the thing. My first like wrestling memories, ready? Going back a whole 6 years before I even started watching wrestling, my brother had one of the Raw versus SmackDown games, and he would always play as Mr. Kennedy because he had the stupid intro, and I was always Chris Masters because I always liked the Master Lock because it was stupid. And that's like my two of my favorite people just because it was always Mr. Kennedy versus Chris Masters.
All right, how about this? If Mr. Kennedy comes back with the intro, Mr. Kennedy!
It does the Chris Masters peck dance.
God, that guy had such bad back knee.
Oh, hey, I saw him recently and he was really attractive, so shh.
Who? Master? Master? I almost call him the Master. The Master.
Yeah, I saw Chris Masters a couple of months ago. Yeah. It was the same show where Brian Fury, our previous guest, broke his ankle.
Ouch.
And then Brian Fury was like, you should have come and said hi. And I was like, yeah, but I was busy staring at Chris Masters because he is hot.
Creepy.
Yep. That's me.
You're well on your way to a restraining order, my friend.
He was the one who told me I should pick the other 8x10 instead of the one I picked because in the other one he was wearing his tighty whities. So, psh.
You know, we're not allowed to say penis or vagina, but Catherine can talk about tighty whities all she wants. I'm kind of feeling like there's a little bit of sexism going on here.
Excuse me, I don't talk about private parts. I discuss what goes over the private parts.
Just on and around the private parts. Not actually discussing the package.
Change it to Catherine wants sweaty, oily, tighty whities.
Oh, man. Okay, so ready for a creepy moment? I was at a wrestling show last weekend, 2 weekends ago. It was during the road trip. And we were at Wrestling as Art, and Biff Busick, who's coming on our show later this month, or next month, on the 5th, was up in the balcony because he was doing commentary, and he was just wearing jeans and a towel. And I was really like tempted to make a smart aleck comment, but I didn't, and I kind of regret it.
Shucks.
People should know not to use towels around me now, apparently.
You miss 100% of the shots you never take.
I know, right?
Just remember that.
I should just like, Biff, the towel.
Your moment of zen.
Did you just have a list when you were talking about the wrestler that you were kind of... He was very attractive. I like his sweaty, oily towel. Now, if only Catherine could sing the Ultimate Warrior theme like that. Ultimate Warrior! It's very
Shut
exciting.
Up. You're agitating my zombie plague.
You sound like Del Greco.
Now, you know what, Jason? More vendettas on this show. I've had it.
Man, so everyone knows I'm a reporter when I'm not doing this. And I had to go to a town council meeting last night, by the way, and the chair council person looked just like Nunzio, and it made me ridiculously happy.
Why would you want to tie in your legitimate career with this train wreck?
Whatever. It happens.
Is it weird that I do something very similar? Like, I cover a lot of, like, town meetings, and I look at, like, board members, and I'm like, all right, who would I have to make in a match to make the best card out of these guys? And it's like, take the big fat one and the little one over here, and that works as one match, and this will be a tag team.
See, I don't go that far. He looked like Nunzio, and then there was this guy that was being really disrespectful and told him to go shut up. And I was like, come on, finishing move him, and he didn't.
See, because I'm the only one without a legitimate career, I often do this with Jesus toasters and George Foreman grills. Who would win in a match?
Eddie's just sitting on the floor of the store, just clanging the two things together.
You know what's sad is that could be a reality. Eventually, being the big boss will lead to me playing with action figures or, like cooking utensils on the floor when I have my mental breakdown.
Oh, man.
It's gonna happen. You both know it will. That should be like the official. Eddie's not on the show, and all the listeners, that's because he's having a mental breakdown.
I will say I will take blame for any train wrecks that happened this evening. I had a really crappy day and I told them to make me laugh. So they're doing a good job so far. I apologize for any of you who don't think that it's funny, but you can go shove it.
Now you took it serious. Now we're gonna fuck this up.
To do this show because I was told train wrecks weren't allowed. That's why I showed up. Those legitimate ones where they interviewed like indie wrestlers and people of importance, I said, you know what, not for me, man. I'm just gonna make that a train wreck. You let me know when the next train wreck is allowed. When this show doesn't need to sound good, you give me a call.
Are you saying that we sounded good without you? What a good compliment. Thank you.
Even though I didn't help on your last interview.
I know, right? For anyone who was wondering, while I was interviewing JT Dunn, Jason was in like on the conversation. Just
never had a chance to say anything. Well, I had a chance, but I didn't speak out. So we had to change the intro and the outro. So sorry to fake the illusion of podcasting.
What happens is when I'm not on the show, it's the equivalent of a middle school dance where stands against the wall, and I just decided to hell with it. I'm not going. It's still holding out for me to show up to be that awful counterpart.
You're the rebel whose mom drops him off outside the building, and you like wait for her to go, and you just dive behind the bushes and like sneak out.
I just kind of sit by the table with all the soda for like a quarter and keep buying cups.
Well, see, now that makes me sad because if that's the analogy we're using, Jason's at the dance sitting by the punch. I light a cigarette and just casually walk away.
What do I want to know what this makes me?
The DJ. Spin that shit.
Yeah, that's probably gonna come up. All right, here's the thing: if you're a Massachusetts resident and you're going to Survivor Series this Sunday, I'll buy you a drink if you're a total stranger and you sit next to Catherine and just very creepily whisper that in her ear.
Wicka, wicka, wicka.
I'm gonna.
Now we can get like a whole remix. We can be like, Ultimate Warrior, wicka, wicka.
Mr. Kennedy.
I'm waiting for the really awkward moment where a really sweaty, smelly, big wrestling fan places himself right next to Catherine, leans in. Ultimate Warrior!
It's funny. I think I feuded with him on Twitter this week. Dickhead. Sorry.
Oh, man.
That's the reason why I've been quiet on Twitter. I do not want to be associated with your drama, sir.
I don't do anything. Just dickheads find me and start fucking trolling me. I can have a conversation with you. We can have a disagreement. But don't fucking call me a moron, an idiot, for asking opinions of people.
Now, I had my self-destruction of the ultimate Rofi moment. I believe this is Jason's turn.
You know, just don't be a shitty podcast and steal from me. Don't be a fucking asshole listener. That's all I ask.
Jason doesn't have a lot of, things that he requires of people.
I don't think that's a lot to ask.
No, it's not. Don't be a thief and don't be a douchebag.
You can't see it right now, but Jason's hulking out and he's about to rip his shirt in half.
What you gonna do when I assault you on Twitter?
It's the big leg drop, Jason. Going for the leg drop.
Told my quad.
Jason's fingers will be all mangled next time I see him. What happened? I went in for the leg drop via Twitter. My God. See, this is why I'm the voice of reason. Occasionally on these shows, I am in fact the voice of I'm the voice of the voiceless.
Are you the voice of the voiceless, or are you the voice of the voice of the voiceless? Or are you the voice of the voice of the voice of the voiceless? Are you speaking on behalf of Paul Heyman?
I think I'm speaking on behalf of the me that wasn't on the show for a few weeks. Again,
You're the voice of the Eddie.
I am my own voice,
He is the voice within his head.
and it often sounds like scum.
Is the voice within your head named Steve?
I'm sorry, I had a 5 million Survivor Series pay-per-view.
Oh God, not this again. All right.
But Lieutenant
Moving
Dan,
right
you ain't got no
along.
legs.
Magic legs.
Oh God. Is
All right,
there?
we'll probably get to whatever itinerary we have left before we wrap up the show.
I wanted to talk indie wrestling for a minute / NXT. Can I do that? Am I allowed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. So, shut your face. All right. So there's kind of big news if you're familiar with any indie wrestling or more specifically Ring of Honor. Tonight on NXT, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards worked the NXT taping. They were the American Pitbulls, and they lost to the Ascension. They do not have WWE contracts right now. It's something that they've been working with, and WWE's been kind of, I know, according to the dirt sheets, like hasn't really made a decision on them yet. But I think the fact that they're working NXT is pretty big, and hopefully they'll get a developmental deal from them. Because I mean, I saw Eddie Edwards this past Sunday at Beyond Wrestling in Providence, which if you are anywhere in New England or anywhere and you have the chance to go to Beyond Wrestling, I highly recommend going, especially in Providence. They do their shows at Fet Music, and it's like a nightclub, and it is really cool because there's not seats, there's not barricades. You stand anywhere you want. So the first third, we were standing up in the balcony, which is a really neat way to watch wrestling because you're like looking down on it. And for the second 2/3, we were at ringside, and by at ringside I mean like my hip was against the ring, like very, very close. And then there's like the wrestlers just kind of walk around through the crowd. They watch the matches when it's not their turn. Like, it's just a very unique experience. It's a really cool experience. I highly recommend it to anyone. But this past Sunday, Biff Busick, yes, I know I'm in love with him. He's coming on the 5th. Had a 60-minute iron match against Eddie Edwards, which sounds like the most painful experience in the entire world is a 60-minute match. But it was amazing. And like the crowd, like they had the crowd going the entire time. It was one of the best matches I've ever seen. The level of wrestling at Beyond is just absolutely ridiculous. So it's definitely something I recommend. I know they're going to be posting their matches and doing their DVDs and stuff for it soon. So definitely keep an eye out because it was a phenomenal show.
Nice.
There's my little spiel. Ooh, I should also do my spiel for Chaotic.
Definitely.
It is tomorrow, Friday, in Woburn at the Elks.
Woburn?
Shut your face.
Woo-tan.
Woburn?
Woo-ben.
Woburn.
I hate my life.
Ultimate Warrior.
But Mark Sherman is going to be taking on MPG. They're doing ballots to find the new chaotic president. I know the Shermaniacs are running a campaign to elect Mark Sherman as the chaotic president.
Nice.
It should be absolutely wonderful. They have a campaign video out on Twitter.
I did see that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's hilarious. And just a reminder before I shut up and let the boys start being ridiculous again. December 5th, we are going to have Biff Busick. It is going to be a great show. Please send us Twitter questions. And then the big news, December 12th, I know I put it on Twitter a couple of days ago. We have DJ Hyde. He is a wrestler, but he is also the owner of CZW, and he is the owner and trainer of the CZW Wrestling School. It's going to be a great opportunity to talk to him a couple of days before their Cage of Death pay-per-view. And also, he's just been in the business for a long time, and clearly he's good at what he does. So send us questions and make sure you listen to those shows because they should be awesome.
Nice.
Depending on whether or not Eddie is actually there. if it's a train wreck, please.
We'll edit you out.
I'm going to do my train wreck after show. I just reflect on the show that was previously posted in my Forrest Gump voice. In fact, I would like to just interview one of our guests as Forrest Gump, if that's allowed.
You should do your own separate show one week, and it should just be you interviewing Forrest Gump.
You were going to immediately regret that decision, Catherine.
Because that's coming.
I said it should be a separate show, not on our show. You can post it on our Twitter and everything, but no.
Interviewing Forrest Gump alongside
And Batman.
An Ultimate Warrior.
Essentially, all the useless shit that's edited out of the show will just wind up being its own show.
I think we've arrived at the point where like people are like, okay, I've only got, X amount of time to listen to these guys. I have shit to do.
Well, in which case they can turn the podcast off.
Yeah,
no one
you're
tells them they
welcome.
listen to the whole damn thing.
This is like Talking Dead or Talking Wrestling, like the after show almost. Nothing changes. We don't do anything besides just rant. But
I love the
But
fact
like
that
Chris Hardwick is like attractive, and then he has like clips and really cool facts. Do we have any really cool facts we can share?
we can come up with some.
Jason's just gonna make that shit up.
We'll give like personal facts.
I can do little kid jokes.
It's like Jason's favorite soda.
What is Jason's favorite soda?
Cherry 7-Up.
Did we really need to know that?
You do, well, you do now. Like, I want to reach the point, like, where I tell, like, fans, like, oh, I love Cherry 7-Up. And then magically there's, like, a case of Cherry 7-Up on my door. Like, oh, it's from an awesome listener.
It's probably all poisoned, but whatever.
If that's the case,
It comes from fans' podcast.
Oh, fuck him.
If that's the case, I drink
tainted.
bourbon and I smoke Marlboro Lights, and I'm pretty sure I'm down to my last 3. Make with it.
Now we become arrogant. Like, why aren't you fans sending us shit?
We can't even send our fan shit because they don't want any of our shit.
We couldn't give away shit.
Didn't that guy want your half-used deodorant?
Well,
Did he never follow through?
He wanted the one sock, but he never got back to me. I don't know because I haven't been on Twitter in like a month.
Step up the game.
Well, he probably knows that you've upgraded to 2 socks now.
He doesn't know my brand. He doesn't even know my brand. Well, it's that part in the show. We've been an hour or so because we've completely lost track of what we're doing.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes.
Why did the cookie go to the hospital?
Why did the cookie go to the hospital?
Because he was feeling crummy.
That's my commentary, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man. I love the little kid jokes. They make my life a better place.
He was Jason Smith, and that was Catherine.
Hey. I know my own name.
What do you call a fish without an eye?
978-276. Please feel free to leave your hate messages at MO Commentary. Feel free to pick fights with Jason.
Or leave your best joke.
Yeah, totally. You guys should leave your best jokes. If you want, send them straight to me at VLNPLYR2. My phone is ringing. I'm not going to answer it, though, so deal with it.
You're like a really distracted kid with ADD. Your best joke. That's my ringing.
Squirrel.
Okay.
If you had said it as Forrest Gump would have been about it, that's my phone ringing.
I don't do voices or accents. They're all terrible.
Mama said I'm not allowed to answer it. She beat me with a rubber hose.
They're sending me to Vietnam.
Oh, man.
This was Mark on commentary. I'm pulling the plug.
We're done. We're done. This is it.
I'm sending Jason and Catherine to Vietnam.
But we've missed you, Eddie.
But Jason, guess what?
What?
Why didn't the ghost go to the party?
I don't know.
Because he had no body to go with.
I don't know if you're hearing the humming in the background of a cable being loose or Skype essentially saying you're done.
I think it's me. And there's also whining because the phone was ringing and my dog decided to go out. Yeah, I don't know. My life is a mess, people.
Should we talk about plans for Survivor Series or anything like that before we go, even though we don't officially have anything on lock?
Yeah,
I'll be there. We're in the nosebleed section. Yeah.
Tweet us. No, we'll post updates. We'll try and give our snarky one-liners throughout the pay-per-view.
We could always do something wonderful, like post a picture of our view, and then if somebody can find us, they get a prize.
It's like, where's Waldo?
But that means like we have to spend money on that person.
No, we don't. We bring something cheap and give it to them.
You want us to bring our prize in through security? Sir, would you mind explaining this?
Jason, if the
Stick of deodorant.
It's funny. It shows.
Listen, if I wind up in like Boston PD custody because my half stick of deodorant could be used as an explosive,
He brought an extra sock, a stick of deodorant, where it's like, I don't know if these could be put together to make an explosive, but we're gonna take this guy in anyways.
you realize that if I go with anything, it's gonna be with a can of Axe, so I can spray on the other smelly wrestling fans.
Charlie, shut up.
I'm just gonna bring a bottle of Febreze.
I will be doing a vlog, so the YouTube page will have something more beyond just our podcast.
You've been saying that as long as we've been saying Gangrel will be on this show.
But now I have a purpose, and we're all together, and I don't know. I hope it'll be entertaining.
You know what? You know what? Actually, I just saw something. You know what return would be phenomenal?
Gangrel.
Gangrel on the show. At this point, I'm willing to just call anybody who wants to just say they're Gangrel and interview them.
Somebody do their Gangrel voice.
I think we should just have Piranha Man start cutting promos for Gangrel to come on the show and then just post them everywhere. Get Piranha Man to get Gangrel to come on.
If this is what you want, Piranha Man could start cutting YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Does Piranha Man have a Forrest Gump-like voice?
Piranha Man.
Piranha Man is always a whisper. It has to be a whispering Forrest Gump.
He's not a smart man, Catherine, but he does know what love is. Oh, the worst part is you haven't even heard my McConaughey yet.
Is it the same thing?
Well, all right.
I wonder how long Eddie could have a conversation with himself.
Yes.
Forever. That should just be the YouTube video. It's just you doing conversations with yourself.
God, that could be terrible. Friends with me on Facebook. Have you not read my posts?
Of course I have. I read them all.
Epic paragraphs where it's essentially me in a room talking to myself.
You know what I did realize, Eddie, is that I think a year ago this week, I brought the idea of doing Mark's on commentary up to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just reflecting upon that.
And he's regretting it every...
Exactly.
Wait, what?
I brought the idea up to Eddie about a year ago this week to start
Is
doing
it the 1 year anniversary?
Not quite, because I procrastinated for like another 3 months.
It's the 1 year anniversary of the concept.
Yeah.
It's a conceptual 1 year anniversary.
We're going to have a conceptual anniversary.
It sounds dirty.
It'd be the equivalent of having a kid and then celebrating when you and the woman had thought of the concept of the kid.
Or the man.
Or the man, the woman, the dicks.
We could say that. It's okay.
I know.
The Billy and Chucks, if you will.
God. I love you people. I hate you, but you're also my friends.
What are we still doing?
I don't know. This is why we're supposed to have like outtakes. We've had this conversation like 12 times about how we should have outtakes because I feel like the last 20 minutes should just be an outtake.
Yeah, but
Not
we
actual
haven't
show.
had Eddie on the show in like 2 months, so it's like...
You realize the last 45 minutes of this show was one long outtake?
Should we talk anything about wrestling? Is there anything to talk about?
I think Catherine covered the serious wrestling stuff.
Yeah, and I covered some indie stuff. Went to some cool shows. I'm going to more shows. We're going to Survivor Series. I don't know. Guy looked like Nunzio. I think I covered all my topics.
I have been thinking of a new segment that I can do, and it's what is Jason bought on eBay now?
Oh God.
Button is not a word, you fuck.
What?
You said, what is Jason bought on eBay? It's not button.
Bought. Sorry. That's the problem. That's the problem you have when you're on the show with 2 writers.
Yeah.
They like, and then yet I'm in charge of the Twitter page, and then they scrutinize my spelling, and it's like,
I do often send Jason messages. I'm like, you realize you spelled that incorrectly, right?
Motherfucker, I was a sped student. What do you want?
Hey, shut up. I was in the same class with you. Shut up. We were speds.
I'm in a math class that's so terribly hipster and for special needs that my book came with 3D glasses.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I'm basically failing out this semester, and you have a book with 3D glasses?
Yeah. I know, right?
Am I the only one with a bachelor's degree on this show?
Show your face.
Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, my life has been so fucking chaotic lately that I actually forgot. I just missed a whole test in my history class. Like, just signed on one day. I was like, ooh, I missed a test. That's paddling.
I have a speech due sometime before Sunday. Because apparently I'm taking public speaking online.
I love that this is a sudden revelation of yours. I think I'm taking public speaking.
Yeah. That's
I know.
happening.
I've said it multiple times. I'm in the class, and I still haven't quite figured out exactly how it's public speaking online.
Do you have Skype or like record your voice? How does that?
Yeah, I have to record myself giving a speech. I just want to be like, have you listened to my podcast? Because can I submit it as evidence?
I was gonna say, can't you? Like that counts.
No.
Fuck that. It's not. It doesn't even count because it's not public speaking. It's like live. Like.
Yeah. You know, right? And then I had to interview someone who speaks in public often. I'm like, what?
Well, you're a reporter. You should be used to that shit by now.
Exactly. I interview people all the time. I don't want to interview people for school.
I talk to elderly people and meth heads, all right? Your life is far more entertaining than mine.
Oh, I do. Who? You should have seen who I had to talk to at the food pantry.
I already like where that story's going. So I was at the food pantry, Eddie?
Buckle up. This story takes a ride.
Oh, man.
Fucking
It was.
eat at that pantry. I think you should just the pantry.
Anytime you're at a food pantry at 7 o'clock in the morning, something interesting is going to happen. Unless you're in a small town like mine, where the most important news from the weekend was that they hung Christmas lights at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I thought that story was going to go a lot more interesting.
No.
I'm in like, they hung. I'm like, who'd they hang? Like, this place doesn't take any shit.
Jason Asian for like 2 seconds. They hung. They hung.
They hung. That's racist. Sorry.
Speaking of hanging, little known fact about New Hampshire. Technically, the death penalty in New Hampshire is still death by hanging. Because it's been so long since we've actually put anyone, like, down. And we have a guy on death row, and they're like, we probably shouldn't hang him.
That's fucked up, but a part of me would like to see that. Like the old-fashioned way they used to take care of business. You should just put stones on them. Can you still stone people?
We're gonna tar and feather you.
He's got a tar and feather.
I'm sorry. Anytime anyone talks about stoning, all I can think of is the Salem Witch Museum. In Salem, Massachusetts, the stupid wax museum, where there's the guy under the rocks, and they're like, more words.
I was actually thinking the exact same thing.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever. I love it. I love Salem.
All right, so what's the game plan for Sunday?
I don't know. Are we technically recording still?
Yeah, we're still recording.
So if we talk about our plans, is everybody going to know our plans before we know our plans?
Well,
I think everybody already does know our plans before we know our plans.
I don't know our plans.
Try and promote maybe a little.
How?
I don't know.
Get like flashcards and write marks on commentary on them and hand them out.
Basically.
Can we get marks on commentary condoms? Those would probably get more use.
At a wrestling show?
Get colored.
And that's true, Jason. At a wrestling show, maybe not.
No. I think we should
But people would carry them around in their wallets for 5 years.
I think we should just start. Well, yeah, wrestling bands. They're not gonna have them for a while, but they'll carry them.
So they'll just be in their wallet forever.
That was a great endorsement for both this show and wrestling fans. The smelly losers who never get laid.
Oh man.
Let's see. So Eddie's gonna spray stinky wrestling fans. I'm gonna try not to see anybody I want to punch.
That's impossible, sir. You're going to a wrestling
know.
thing. I swear to God, if I see the Aces and Eights Sapat team, I kid.
We need to come up with signs to bring.
We're gonna be so far away. What's the point?
Exactly.
We're already making signs for tomorrow.
I'm gonna make a sign that just says nobody gives a shit about this sign.
Do it.
And then of course I'll have it taken away from me and handed a John Cena shirt. You know, fuck it, I want a free John Cena shirt. I'm gonna do it.
Oh God. What am I gonna do with you?
Well, we'll decide who's sitting next to who on Sunday.
Can I sit?
Do you
Can
want
I sit in a different section?
Do you want to be sandwiched between us? Do you want me on your side, Eddie on your side, or?
I don't know.
Because you take the risk of not knowing who is going to be on the other side, unless you sit on. Are we in the middle?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
Okay.
I haven't since the day I purchased the tickets. I have not looked at them or printed them.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, you may want to print or get them.
No, I made sure that like they're in my account, so I just have to print them.
Okay.
They're on
We
Ticketmaster.
could well be sitting in the parking lot at this point.
Hey, it's not true. They exist. I confirmed that they exist. I just haven't printed them.
I love that the reporter / English major just said there exist. There exist.
I said they exist. Shut your face.
Ticketmaster.
Hey man, you want to say you have the bubonic plague or some shit? I have to get chest X-rays tomorrow.
Ooh.
Beat that,
Ooh, are you still coughing?
dude. My rib cage feels like somebody fucking detonated a fucking grenade in them.
Yeah, I'm not that much better than you.
So Jason's the healthy one. We'll fuck him up pretty good.
Not quite. I gotta get wisdom teeth out at some point, and I don't have dental insurance.
Ooh.
I have to work on keeping my insurance. I have to reapply because of Obamacare.
How many wisdom teeth do you have to take out, Jason?
3 left.
I had 3. 3 is a magic number.
I had 1 taken out previously, but
You just had 1 out?
because it was that bad, and I was like, I need it done like ASAP.
Yeah.
Dude, I got 1 surgically removed, and that was enough. He was like, you have 3 more. Yeah, that's nice. Because my insurance, all I got was Novocaine.
Yep.
So, like, I didn't get put under anything. This guy was, like, chiseling into my gum. And, like, he was a scary Russian. I think it was in, like, Everett. So that's what Network Health sent you, because it's basically a subsidiary of Mass Health. It's like, oh, hey, you're below the poverty line. Go to this crazy fuck. And the guy at one point, I was so fucking, like, terrified. He kept doing the whole, look over here thing. But he was doing it in Russian, so I was 10 times more terrified. Look over here. I can't do a Russian accent. I must break you.
At least you weren't as bad as my sister. I love my sister to pieces. I love her more than anything. But she has like a bad reaction to like anesthesia where it just makes her incredibly over emotional. So she had her wisdom teeth out and like she woke up and she started sobbing. And then because she was sobbing and her mouth was numb, she started like drooling blood everywhere. And then she said she was drooling, so she started sobbing again. It went on for like 4 hours.
Really, the girl Olivia, who totally fucked us over at the thrift store when she left, her boyfriend videotaped her. She was so fucked up on anesthesia. When she woke up, she was sobbing because she thought they removed her jaw. And her boyfriend was like, yeah, they removed your whole jaw.
Oh, shit.
So the video was her, like, both hands on her face, like, literally, like, the kind of crying you do when you're a little kid and, like, your dog dies and you're like, you can't get your breath. And, like, I'm just egging her on, being like, yeah, they totally removed your entire jaw. It's no longer there. You don't have a jaw anymore.
Yeah,
I can rival your Russian doctor. I had a Chinese dentist, and it's like anytime anything was wrong in the mouth, like he would be like, oh, Jason. And it was the worst feeling you could ever imagine. Like I somehow let him down because it's like I hadn't been flossing enough.
They're amazing in terms of getting work done, but in terms of self-esteem, they're the worst kind of fucking human being on the planet. Because it's like, Eddie, you did not floss enough. And it's like, you know what, you son of a bitch, I don't have dental. I can't afford my Accutane or my student loans or my car payment, much less a thing of floss.
I think it's like a thing where it's like my father had, not my father, I'm speaking in terms of the Japanese dentist, was like stupid rich American, you know, my father ripped out his teeth with pliers. You live in great country, you can't keep teeth clean with Crest.
You cannot keep. It's all. You cannot keep teeth clean with Crest.
Oh God.
Yeah, that about sounds like every visit I had to Lynn Dental, where, like the fucking half-wit community college graduate would be like ridiculing me over how badly I was taking care of my teeth. Meanwhile, it's like, you know what, bitch? You make about like $10 an hour. I make about 8. I can't afford Crest. I have to go to Walmart.
Dollar store Crest.
I have to make my own toothpaste.
Just peanut butter.
I'm working on to invent teeth right now. I'm thinking of kicking it colonial style and making a set of wooden teeth and just ripping out mine.
My old dentist, like the hygienist that was there, was the mother of somebody I went to high school with. It was while I was in high school, and like it was one of those weird things where like she'd have a conversation with you, and you're like, how much of what I tell you is gonna go back to your son? Because you're asking me really personal questions right now.
No, my favorite was I had a young dental hygienist who was asking me how much the condos in North Reading cost that my parents were renting. Meanwhile, with like Novocaine and a mouthful of cotton, I was trying to explain to her that I still lived at home with my parents. Like, I don't actually know. I live at home like a loser. That's why I'm at Lynn Dental.
Oh man, when my sister got her tonsils and adenoids out, like
Adenoids.
I know, like I knew she was gonna freak out because she'd already had that problem before. So I like brought a stuffed animal with me, and I was talking to the doctors and the nurses, and was like, it was a couple of months after I had had my hand surgery, so they all knew who I was, and they all know me anyways. And I was like, you know, when she wakes up, she's gonna be incredibly emotional. It's just her reaction. Like, give her the stuffed animal and time to calm down. She'll be fine. I'm like, okay. So they did the surgery, and then like one of the nurses came out to talk to me. You know, just in the waiting room with a bunch of other people. They were waiting for other people, and like the nurse is like, oh, we totally get what you mean. Like, she woke up, she was crying. We gave her the stuffed animal. She's calming down, but you know, we can't let you in until she's fully calm, and she's been crying for like 20 minutes now. And the woman next to me goes, oh, did your little girl get her tonsils out? And I was like, no, it was my big sister, and she's 4 years older than me. Thanks for assuming I have children, though. And I was like 19 at the time. And I was like,
thanks for thinking I'm a whore.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty
I have to piss real badly, so I'm gonna let you two go. I'm gonna talk about Facebook.
If it makes you feel any better, Charlie apparently also has to go bathroom really bad, and that's why he's been whining at me for 10 minutes.
Do we have anything left in the tank, or should we just wrap this guy
Are you leaving all this in, or are you editing it out?
I think I'm leaving it in because it's entertaining.
Son of a bitch.
We're all poor. Who cares?
We're all poor, and I told an embarrassing story about my sister.
Nobody listens. I think
My
we lost
sister
Eddie.
certainly doesn't. He had to go pee.
I was asking if it was done so we could wrap up the damn show.
Clearly, he was done and had to go to the bathroom.
All right. I've got nothing left. Do you?
I don't think so. Didn't you have something you wanted to talk about like super fans or something or other?
Let's see. What did I think? I just said that really loud. I don't know why. I was like, I can save that for Sunday.
For Sunday? What's Sunday?
The pay-per-view and the vlog.
What pay-per-view?
What?
I did totally forget about it earlier. Just making plans for the weekend. I was like, I could leave for the weekend, and I'm like, oh no, I can't. Stupid pay-per-view.
No. Oh, I didn't tell what I bought on eBay.
Oh, what did you buy on eBay?
I bought it was a deal. It was a steal deal. For $20, I got an original XFL jersey.
What?
It's all black and it says XFL on it. I was like, I'm not a big football fan, but I love waving Vince McMahon's failed dreams in his faces.
Was it a He Hate Me jersey?
No,
Because that's totally worth it.
No, it was just blank. Like
What?
black jersey, XFL logo on the arm and on the chest, and number 1 on the back.
Lame.
Lame.
He Hate Me was the coolest one in the XFL.
Yeah, but that
We
wasn't
okay
$20.
for the longest time we had an XFL football because
Mm-hmm.
we actually really liked XFL in my family, and we had that thing for like I don't know what year was XFL.
2000.
01, 02, something like that. So we had it for like we only got rid of it a couple of years ago, and that was because we were playing catch on the beach and my sister accidentally threw it into the ocean.
Oh.
So we had it for like 10 years.
Shame.
And that was like our football that we used for everything.
I love buying random weird shit on eBay that like people forget about. It's like, yeah, I'll take
it all.
Huh?
What do you do with it all?
There's only certain things. Like, it's mostly DVDs that I buy, but, you know, there's a couple, like, Rob Van Dam shirts that I have that it's, like, super rare, or...
You just collect RVD stoner shirts? Just the all come
like,
packaged, pre-smelling like pot?
No, it wasn't like he wore them. It was, like, original ECW shirts, and... I don't know, some cool shit I got.
Yeah.
You know.
Honey, what do you want from me?
I don't collect much, but that's what I collect. All right, I'm rambling. Do you have anything left? Besides the dog, that's... What's your dog want to mention?
Yeah, Charlie has a very important story to tell. So it's a long and tragic story about a beagle who slept all day and totally ignored me, and then I gave him dinner, and then he left and went to bed again, and now he's decided he wants to go out now.
All right,
right
so,
now.
So does that mean we're done?
I think we were done like 45 minutes ago, and there's no reason for you to use any of this.
I'm putting it all in. It's content. It's entertaining.
Well, if you think that's entertaining, then Eddie's response on our Facebook chat is the best response and excuse for having left ever, which is sorry I had to pee out of my asshole.
Does that mean he's got diarrhea, or?
I don't know.
Okay, we could leave that at that, but.
So, on behalf of Eddie, who's poor, but I think it's hurting, I'm Catherine.
I'm Jason. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at MO Commentaries. Go to the website, www.
Commentary, singular.
What did I say? Commentary.
You said commentaries.
I always do that.
That
and Kowloons.
It's a Massachusetts thing. It's at MO Commentary. Mark's on commentary.com. Mark's on blogging.blog.com.
Read my Boston pay-per-view history blog I just posted.
You can follow me on at VLNPLYR2. It's violin player without any vowels. Eddie is at Thrift Store Sage. Jason is at Decidedly So 8.
Wow, she remembered.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
I think that's everything. Oh, you guys should totally follow Allie since she's going to be kind of joining us. She's going to be doing stuff on the blog and maybe helping out with some other programming. She is at the Alley Cat, ALLEY Cat 1122, and her birthday is next week, so she's going to be joining us on the show. She's going to Raw after Survivor Series, so it should be totally fun.
Definitely. So check us out, Survivor Series night. We'll be posting fun things. I'm thinking we may even use Tout. We have a Tout account.
No, I refuse.
We'll do something. We'll post some videos, pictures. There'll be a vlog.
There'll be no Tout.
There might. Well, I have a Tout app on my phone, so
Tout can go die in a fire.
you might be an uncooperative Tout.
I will wear
subject.
a Sakara mask, so I'm not actually on a Tout.
All right. I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Catherine. Eddie, it's gone to potty.
Being out of butthole. And good night.